Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Grizzly Bear Sims YouTube channel, and welcome back to Mountain Valley Farm. It is a brand new game day. It is late game day 6 or late spring, the second and last day of spring, and we are getting started sort of bright and early in the morning. Well, it's not so bright, but it is kind of early in the morning. It's just after 5 a.m. and we are headed down with our seeder and our fertilize spreader down to our two lowland fields that I like to refer to them as maybe. They are the newer fields that we went ahead and purchased. We had the opportunity to purchase that land back. These originally belonged to my grandfather, who after sort of his death, or maybe I should say maybe after his retirement from farming, some of the land was sold, and certainly after his death, some of the land was sold, and these two fields belonged to an individual who really hadn't been doing anything with them, and as a result, we had the opportunity to buy these fields back, and that's what we have done. And so we basically have now all of the land that my grandfather had previously owned. Now, as you know, we've been busy in the previous game day mowing and raking and getting grass cut for silage purposes. Now, one of the reasons why I'm starting quite early in this game day is basically we need to essentially, we've got a lot to do today, in the fact that not necessarily in this video, but certainly in the subsequent time that we will spend in this game day, we obviously will be doing some more mowing, and we'll be doing that mowing for hay purposes. So what I'm going to do is, just not to confuse things, I'm going to go ahead and just drop this fertilize spreader right here. Set the parking brake, and we'll come up here and we'll go ahead and just drop that right there, and that way that is out of the way and we don't have to worry about that, because we're going to first we're going to go ahead and seed these two fields. Now we need to go ahead and set our options there for soybeans, because that is what we're going to sow here. So as you can see, our soil temperature is 52 degrees, and if we just go into here, we will see that our minimum temperature requirement for soybeans is 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So we are good to go. With being 2 degrees over that mark, we should be just fine. So you may remember we basically plowed and cultivated these fields. Well, we plowed, fertilized, and cultivated these fields, so everything is good to go. Everything is good to go there, and so we will just kind of figure out which direction we want to do things here, and kind of get started here. So we'll just kind of start right here, and we'll put our headlands in here like this. We're not going to worry about the corners, and get started. So yeah, it is sort of early in the morning. Again, not so bright, but the sun will get up full ahead here soon enough, and we will have plenty of time to do what we need to do with these fields. So I appreciate you coming back for another video. I do. Thanks for tuning back in, and I hope you're enjoying the variety of content that I'm trying my level best to bring to you, both with flight sim stuff as well as truck sim, both ATS and ETS2. Now, I'm not really sure where videos are going to sort of come out. I have worked the last couple of days since coming back from the mountains. I've basically, in some spare time that I've had, have basically been trying to build up a little bit of a stockpile of videos. It is my hope at this particular point in time, now this is all subject to change, so please understand if I do end up having to change plans, but it is my hope to be able to provide to you more than 3 videos per week, kind of once I can get my feet and get my tasks and everything at work and everything caught up. So probably, and of course, this video that I'm recording here, episode 14, this is going to air sometime in the future, but the first week that I'm back, so the week of the 10th, which will have already been gone by the time you watch this video, is probably going to be a 3 or maybe 4 video week that I will have released videos in that span of time. It is then hopeful that the second week, if I can, I will do most likely do 4 videos, and then I'm going to try maybe by the time we get into late July, be at a point to where that I'm releasing 4 to 5 videos per week. And again, this is all very subject to my schedule with work and what I'm essentially able to accomplish versus what I can't accomplish and all that kind of stuff. And the thing about it is I fully know that the people that watch my channel, you guys that watch my channel, you guys all have, or most of you have families, you have other commitments such as school and work and stuff, and you know that you basically put those things first. For me, I've never tried to allude to the fact that this is any more than an extension of the hobby. This is no more than an extension of my gaming hobby, what I enjoy doing, playing these various simulation-based games. It's something that I enjoy doing very much. And so with it being just an extension of the hobby itself, then basically I put everything ahead of this. And so obviously work is that big thing that has to be done without regard to getting in the way of anything else or letting anything else get in the way of that. That's obviously got to be my number one priority. Well, obviously my family is my number one priority, but you know what I mean. So I will try very hard to be able to give you guys a little bit more to watch, and that way you can enjoy more content, not just the same old stuff. So again, it's kind of the reason why I wanted to bring a little bit of diversity, some variety to the channel, and introduce you all to other games that I very much enjoy playing. I mean, I very, very much enjoy ETS2, ATS, and of course Flight Sim. Really enjoyed getting kind of back into that, and I tell you, P3D version 4 has just sort of unleashed the joy of flight simulation back for me. What I have thoroughly enjoyed playing that game over the years, many years. I've been flying computer-based sims, and been enjoying it quite a bit. So anyway, you'll get more of that stuff, and you know, farm sim, truck sim stuff as well. Quite honestly, for me, and I don't know others that do a variety of different games, I really don't. Most of the folks that I follow, that I watch videos fairly regularly, are just doing one simulation-based game, and that being a farm sim. But for others that are trying to diversify their channels to bring in a little bit more of a variety of stuff, I think that for me, it's a little easier to do farm sim and truck sim videos than it is to do flight sim stuff. So I think that my flight sim content that you guys will see on the channel will probably be one video a week, or maybe there'll be a week where I don't do a flight sim video, and then, you know, so maybe like every other week. And only because I think for me, the setup, you know, essentially the setup for me to start playing farm sim or truck sim or whatever is relatively quick. I mean, it literally is just turn on my computer and load up the game and start playing. But with flight sim stuff, there's a lot to get set up that I've got to do, and I don't want to necessarily bore you all with that, watching me set that stuff up and calculate fuel and all that kind of stuff. And one day maybe I'll expand and I'll show you all that sort of that process, or at least the process that I use in helping me achieve those things. But pretty much with farm sim and with truck sim, both ETS and ATS2, it's pretty much just turn on the computer, you know, come downstairs, turn on the computer, launch the game, and basically click record on OBS and, you know, start doing something. So I don't, I don't put a lot of planning and stuff into whatever. I mean, like really today, this video, it could have been, we could have started with actually, we could have actually started mowing, but since we had mowed the time before, I wanted to keep things a little bit different, and so we will basically seed this morning, probably seed and fertilize these two fields will probably be what this video is about. And then when we come back for episode number 15, whenever we get back in around to doing that, then we will most likely be mowing and getting things ready to make hay, because we need hay. We need hay, we need straw as well. Unfortunately, we've got a little bit more time to go before we're going to get access to straw, just because, well, we need our, well, we need not to open our cedar up against that tree is what we need not to do, but we need our wheat and our barley crop to basically come in, and that is just not there yet. So once that occurs, then we'll be able to harvest our wheat. That's the first field. That's that first field that we defined and plowed and all that kind of stuff. So we'll get wheat off that crop, and obviously take the straw from that and bale that into straw, is what I'm trying to say, and then go from there. But we may have to buy a few bales of straw before it's all said and done, just because it's still probably several game days before we're going to have that harvest ready to harvest and ready to bale into straw. So but we got a source locally. I contacted we're really the only farming outfit here in this town, and so I've really leveraged the county commissioner. The county commissioner has been really most helpful for us. He's been very helpful in us getting sort of restarted back here. Pretty much nothing had been going on up above with the farmland up there. As you guys all saw, the trees had taken over after Granddad passed away, and the stuff that was going on down here just wasn't really beneficial to the community. When these guys did plant these fields, they pretty much moved the harvest, all the harvest, the crops that were harvested from these fields all went to other locations and really didn't benefit the community. And so that was one goal that we basically said, was that we wanted to put the community first. We wanted to buy local and obviously sell local. That was important to us, important to me. That's the way Granddad did things. And so that is more or less what we are continuing to do with our model. And of course, when I've called the county agent, he understands what our goals are, and they basically align with his goals and everything of keeping everything local to the community, local to the county. And so he has been very beneficial in hooking us up, if you will, with other farmers in other areas that have sort of a surplus or an abundance of different things. And so there is a guy that lives nearby that we can get some hay or get some straw from should we need it. He's got an abundance of it left over from last year's harvest, and we can get that for our cows if we need to go down that road. But we'll see. We'll try to avoid it as much as possible, but we may just break down and have to buy a few bales of that just to keep our cows with bedding and with total mixed rations and such. So anyway, it's good to have those contacts in the community. It kind of works the same way in the real world. We know who we can rely on. We know who we can call on should we need to. And that's the way it all works, right? I scratch your back, you scratch mine. And I grew up in a time, I'm 51 years old, or will be 51 years old. I suppose I should stop aging myself, because I think the last few times I've talked about how old I was, I've said I was 51 years old. I won't be 51 until October, so I need to stop saying that. So anyway, I grew up in a time, thankfully I grew up in a time, or maybe towards the tail end of that time, where a man's word was his bond. And if he said he was going to do something, then by golly, he was going to do it. And of course I was raised to make sure that, you know, we always did those things, that we always did what we said that we were going to do. And of course I still continue to live my life that way now, but it's much harder because not everyone subscribes to that philosophy. Not everyone is the man of his word. And that is such a sad thing for me when I reflect back on that, and I think about the fact that, you know, I grew up in a very small town in Texas. You know, that small town had that barber shop where all the men hung out and swapped stories and swapped lies, fishing lies. You know, I caught the 6-foot bass or whatever. You know how that stuff goes. But still, it was a good community, and I had an opportunity to sort of be raised, born and bred, as I say, in that community. That good old East Texas dirt runs through my blood, runs through my soul, and how my grandparents and how my parents were born and raised and lived their life is how I live my life. Even though I now live my life in the state of Colorado, in Denver, and no longer in Texas, but I still, that's in my root. That core, oh, what am I trying to say here? The core way of living, of how that, you know, when you say you're going to do something, you actually do it, and if you don't have any intentions of doing it, then you basically don't open your mouth. That is missing to the most part in our society. I'm not going to say that it's missing completely. You know, I still see gentlemen holding doors open for ladies, and I will do that until the day that I die. I know that there is a movement. I'm not going to get too deep into this conversation because it does tend to go a little bit political, but I do know that there is a movement where some women take offense to that. I'm sorry, if you are a lady, you know, I'll even open the door for a gentleman as well, if I happen to be standing there, if it's convenient for me to do that. But I'm going to open the door up for ladies. It's just something that I do. It's the way I was raised, and you know, we have that here on Mountain Valley Farm. It's a very tight-knit community, and it's more or less how I live my life. So all right, well, we are about 50% through this episode, so that is good timing. We're going to wrap up the seeding here, and then we'll go back over to the other field, and we will disconnect the seeder, and then we will basically connect with the fertilize spreader, and go ahead and spread granular fertilizer out on this field. And then of course that will bump us up to the second level of fertilization, and then at some stage, once we get the first growth cycle visible of soybeans, and we will come along the top of that and go ahead and weed that just like we did the other fields up top. So there we go. We've got our 2 fields done. So basically, in a sense, all of our planting is done. Everything is done here for this season on Mountain Valley Farm, and so we will just go ahead and drive the seeder back over here to this other field and go ahead and drop that and then start fertilizing. As a matter of fact, let's just drop our seeder out here, make it easy for us. No need in making things too difficult. We'll just disconnect that, get back in our tractor, and we'll head over here and grab the fertilizer spreader, like so. And we're too close. Try that. There we go. Maybe a bit unconventional putting the fertilized spreader on the front of the tractor, but it works. and it's working just fine, so we're okay with that. That'll just save us a little bit of time because we won't have to disconnect it and move it around to the front of the tractor when we go to haul everything back up to the farm. I'm trying to, very much as we did when we cultivated and plowed this field, we brought tried to only make one trip if that was at all possible, because time is money and so is fuel. And so driving back and forth from the main farm down to these two lower level farms and making two trips just to do something as simple as seeding and fertilizing, well, if we can do that in one trip, then obviously we are better for that, because it obviously will save us a bit of time and money, because again, both of those things actually cost money. So I'm curious if any of my viewers are actually playing Mountain Valley Farm. I know that I regularly have conversation with Chris, and Chris is playing Lawfolds, and of course he tells me he quite enjoys my series here on Mountain Valley Farm, and he, I think, has considered playing it, but I don't think he has yet. So if anyone is playing the extra hard version of Mountain Valley Farm, that is the one that you've been watching me play for 13, 14 episodes with all the trees and everything, I would be interested in knowing how you find this map, if you're enjoying it, and kind of where you are in your progress. And have you done things similar to the way I've done things, or are you doing things completely different? Sort of what is the deal? How are you playing? How are you choosing to play the map? And of course, as I say, and for those of you that have been watching my channel for any length of time, you know what I'm going to say. There is no right way or wrong way to play these games. It's however you want to envision your gameplay. It's how you want to envision your virtual farming to be, if you want to go in with unlimited funds and all the equipment that you could ever imagine, or if you want to do the slow sort of career mode, the starving farmer kind of concept, where you start off with just the bare necessities and you earn and save and scrape and save and basically farm that way. That's cool. I encourage you to do that at least once. If you're new to Farm Sim, if you're new to Farm Sim 17, or if you're even looking at picking up Farm Sim 15 and getting started, I encourage you to basically at least do it one time. Do the career mode, do the starving farmer, start out with a map and play it the way that the map modder intended for it to be played. Now, there's nothing wrong with, again, interjecting your own way of doing things, as I have done here with this map. Mr. Jerry Ott did a fantastic job of creating this map, of making this map. And of course, we're playing it completely different than maybe the way he intended it to be played. Our friend Mark DuPont did play it more or less the way that Mr. Jerry Ott designed the map to be played. He started off with nothing and cut trees down and basically saved and scrimped and saved and did some odd jobs for folks and whatnot to save up money, and turned it into a very fun and interesting map play for himself. I've done that before as well, and like I said, I encourage you to do it. Maybe this map is not the best map for you to start your Farm Sim enjoyment or entertainment with. If you are new to Farm Sim, either 15, 17, or whatever, I would encourage you to to basically start with one of the easier maps, either with one of the default maps and play it the way that it's set up, or go and look at another map and play that. Anything by Stevie would be great maps for you to start with. Or Lawfolds is a great map to start with, and Lawfolds is actually a pretty good map if you start it from sort of the way that the map developer Stussy designed it to be played. You're going to be having a good time. You really, really will. So let me lower that so that it's a little easier for me to see over the top of that fertilizer. So all of our seeding is done. All of our chemical-based fertilization steps are also done. So we will, after the soybeans hit the first stage of growth, which won't happen for a couple of game days, then we will come back down and we will weed that, and that will bring that up to the third level of fertilization and get us all set to go. So we will pretty much be done with that. I made a phone call down to the local equipment store, and they told me that our harvester is on the way. We've already ordered it. We haven't paid for it yet, but we have ordered it. It is on the way here to Mountain Valley Farm, and as soon as it arrives, they will give us a call and we'll go down and pay for it and get it delivered and everything to our main farm. And all that is completely on schedule to be here and be available for us before the harvest is comes up. So over really the next couple of episodes that you guys are going to see here on Mountain Valley Farm, so probably episode 15 is going to be mowing again. And then once we mow, we will be tethering that grass to dry it out so that it will be ready for to dry, so that we can rake it and bale it into hay. Because again, we need to get our hay going for the year. And then we need to just sort of evaluate where we are with things such as, do we have enough silage? Will we have enough hay after that? And of course, I'm not going to make things too boring for you all. I will try to break things up a little bit and keep things a bit interesting and unique for you as best as I possibly can. But we are telling a story, and the story, I want to, basically tell the story in such a way that we don't leave out a whole lot of tasks and a lot of gaps and everything. So I do plan on having episode 15 be about mowing. Probably episode 16 will probably bale that hay. And then we'll just see how things go from that point forward. I don't know if, when we'll be ready to start harvesting. Obviously, we've got some weeding to do that'll be coming up momentarily, and we will just kind of go from there and plan everything out as best as we possibly can. There'll probably be some work that we need to do with the animals, and so on and so forth. And I just appreciate you guys watching, and I hope that these videos are entertaining to you. I'm going to head over here. I think Ma's got breakfast ready. I was out and about before she even woke up, so we're going to see if Ma's got breakfast going for us. And if she does, we'll have a nice hearty breakfast and then be back right at it with more work here that we've got to do in this game day. So thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I won't take you into the house because every time I do that, Ma gets a bit upset because she's a little bit picky about who comes in the house if she's not had the opportunity to do a thorough clean and everything, and probably the kids' toys are laying everywhere and all that stuff. But in any event, thank you all so much for watching. Summer's just around the corner here on Mountain Valley Farm, and that will give us a few things to do as well. And so thank you all so much for watching. Take care of yourself. God bless you all, and come back again very soon. Bye-bye.